Welcome to FineScale Modeler Weekly. This time we're starting off with a big kit of a big subject.
Yep, it's HobbyBoss's 1/35th scale Scammell Commander with 62-ton Crane Fruehauf trailer.
This British Army tank transporter entered service in the 1980s to haul Chieftain and Challenger tanks.
And a bunch were deployed to the Persian Gulf to move various vehicles into position during Operation Desert Shield.
The cab and separate hood have crisp details, including the Commander name. This is a curbside model with a plate showing the underside of the engine, and underhood detail is limited to a massive radiator visible through the photo-etched metal grille, and a pair of exhaust pipes that go to a pair of mufflers behind the cab with a winch.
Frame rails and separate cross members form the chassis, to which the front and rear leaf springs attach, along with the dual rear drive axles. As molded, it appears the front wheels could be posed turned, but aren't movable. Sharply detailed wheels receive very pretty Michelin-branded tires.
The cab separate doors get inside panels, and inner plates detail the back walls and front ceiling, above the dash with separate instrument cluster. Driver seats and controls and passenger seats/bunks finish the interior. All of the windows go in from outside, and pre-cut masks are provided. Clear plastic also provides all the lights. Small external parts like the mirrors and handles are finely molded, and the big rear fenders bracket the fifth wheel.
The bed of the trailer, including the rise over the wheels, is a single part with non-skid texture on parts of it. It sits on a framework that locks into long rails. The landing gear at the front appears to be movable, as do the ramps. The hitch has a separate frame. The trailer rides on 16 wheels with rubber tires mounted on a pair of bogies.
Photo-etched brass supplies open grating in the center of the bed, an ID plate, manufacturer badging, and texture for the sides of the wheel arches. PE on the truck includes exhaust shields, steps, screens, various brackets and fasteners, and other details. A small decal sheet has dials for the dash, warning placards, and markings for a pair of British Army trucks, one in overall dark green and another in desert tan.
When finished, this thing's going to be more than 22 inches from nose to tail.
But as the box points out, tank not included, so you'll need to add a Challenger or Chieftain if you want to load it up.
Next, the latest AMT Craftsman Plus Series kit.
A 1/25th scale 1965 Pontiac GTO hardtop.
Just like the other kits in this series, this one's designed to go quickly, just like a GTO.
The body shows the lines of Pontiac's classic muscle car with crisp raised badging on the sides, nose, and trunk lid. The hood's intake bulge is sharply outlined, with the big power plant represented by a plate that fits into the underside with molded exhaust and drivetrain details.
Optional steel wheels with poverty hubcaps or Chrome Rally 1 wheels are offered to go inside the pad-printed red line tires. The rest of the bright work includes the front bumper with headlight bezels, rear bumper, taillight insert, front grille inserts, center console, and mirrors.
The rear seat and package shelf is molded into the interior tub that gets separate front seats and a sharply molded dash. The windshield with side vents and the back window are separate. Clear headlights and tinted taillights are given.
The decals supply badging, white and black pinstriping, the instrument cluster in wood and black, and license plates from Colorado and California.
This is a neat model that would be perfect for a novice modeler.
Or as a starting point for the super detailer who wants to rev it up with parts from another kit to dress up the engine and underside.
That would be cool too. More than 10 years ago, Polar Lights under Round 2 issued the first 1/25th scale kit of the classic TV series Batmobile.
It was greeted with widespread acclaim and has been reissued several times since then.
Including this latest, the Bad Guy Getaway edition, featuring figures of Catwoman and the Penguin stealing the Caped Crusaders ride. This version of the car replicates the screen prop with a detailed Lincoln V8 engine, all of the body moldings, drivetrain underneath, interior with bat equipment, the double bubble glass, and chrome-plated wheels and exhausts.
The decals include the car's orange pinstripes, dash instruments, the crime computer labeling, and more. This cool new version really captures the fun of the TV series.
You can read John Pelzak's review of the original kit at the link in the description. In a video from a few months ago, we previewed Takom's 1/35th scale MQ-8B Fire Scout.
You can find that and Robert Raver's workbench review at the links in the description.
Takom has updated the original kit with weapons and the ability to fold the blades.
New here are 2 rotor blades to replace 2 of the original kit's blades, brackets for the nose and tail to post them stowed, 4 of what I think are supposed to be a version of the Hellfire missile, and a pair of pods for the Hydra 70mm laser-guided rockets. Photo-etched metal fins detail the missiles.
The decal options appear to be the same as the earlier kit, but it's great to see this neat drone with new parts.
It is. Note, this kit only allows you to build a single Fire Scout, unlike the previous one that had 2 in it.
For our final subject, we have another Eschi kit given new life.
Yep, it's Italeri's 1/24th scale BMW 320 Group 5 race car.
Molded in blue, the body shows the lines of the classic BMW clad in extra-wide fenders and integrated spoilers. The hood covers a pretty well-appointed engine. The drivetrain and suspension detail the underside,
which doubles as the floor of the interior for the driver's seat, side panels, roll cage, dash, and controls.
Satin-plated wheels are wrapped with Goodyear racing slicks. The windows come as a single part and the taillights are on the clear sprue.
Decals supply instrument dials, seat belts, and markings for a Fruit of the Loom sponsored car driven by Marcus Hottinger in 1978.
So this looks like a pretty straightforward build of a bright race car.
Look for reviews of it, along with the Scammell and GTO at FineScale.com. FineScale Modeler Weekly is brought to you by HobbyZone USA, your source for hobby storage solutions, hard-to-find hobby tools, and aftermarket modeling needs, and by Cult TV Man's Hobby Shop, the place to go for science fiction and fantasy kits, details, masks, decals, and more.
Are you this guy? If you are, I think we need to talk to you about organizing your brushes. Now, all of us at some point were probably that guy. In fact, I was that guy a couple of times over, right? But there is definitely a better way to organize our brushes rather than just in the cup. Whatever, or the jar, the mason jar, right? However you're organizing your brushes, if it looks like this, there is a better way. The brush caddy. Now, you may say, well, I may not have enough space for a brush caddy. We're going to address that in just a moment. But I want to start with a brush organizer. This one here is from HobbyZone, and it's my personal one. I like it, and what it allows me to do is organize my brushes in a way that makes sense to me, right? For me, I've got the brushes over here that they're not my best brushes. They're the cruddy brushes, and I'll use them for cruddy purposes. If I need to put some white glue down or if I'm applying pigment to something, these are the brushes that I don't necessarily care about. I still try to take care of them, but they're not the best ones in the stable. The brushes that I use the most, they're out here in front. And then I also organize them by tip shape or size, height, that kind of stuff, right? And you can do that too. If you don't have the space for something like this, maybe you get one of those carousel style brush caddies, like this one. Or maybe you want to get fancy and have a brush caddy that hangs your brushes after you're done cleaning them and allows them to dry optimally. If those are still taking up too much space at your workbench, then you might consider something like this, which is a case. Now this case comes from HobbyZone. It has magnets that hold it shut, and then you just open it up, and you can keep, I think this one has space for 9 different brushes inside. It's got a little foam insert there to keep them secure. You just, when you're done, you put it back together. And this allows you then to put away your brushes. And this is especially useful for those of you who don't have a permanent place where you're modeling, right? Or you really do need to clean everything up and put it away between sessions. If you don't have something like that, you can always go with the case that a set of brushes comes in, right? You can get your set of really nice brushes and then just keep them in the case, like this set of Gold Series from Green Stuff World. When you're done with them, you put them back in and you put it back in the case. Now, why are we talking about this? I mean, beyond just the organizational aspect to it, Why am I bothering you with this? Well, it's because brushes, just like any of the other tools that we use, brushes are there to make our lives easier, right? And just like any of the other tools that we own, if we take good care of our brushes, brushes will last us our lifetime. And any of you who have watched our previous videos knows that this brush right here, this brush was my dad's brush before he gave it to me, and this thing is older than I am, decades old, right? And I still use it. Not as often as I used to, but it's still in good condition. And a brush organizer allows us to keep our brushes well maintained and in good standing. Now, let's say you don't have room for this, or you maybe don't want to spend money on something like this, and you don't have room for the carousel or the special hangy one, or even a case. But you do have this cup, right? And it's been working. It's been doing okay for you. But I think we can turn this cup into a fairly effective caddy. Let's give it a shot. Okay, here we go. That works pretty well, yeah. For the most part, it's not too bad. And yeah, so a couple of these are a little short. Maybe you want a longer brush, or you could cut this cup down. But can I tip it over? I can push it off the workbench. So maybe something like that works for you. Help you at least keep a few of your brushes better organized. We are live. We're live. Coming to you from Studio B here at Kalmbach Media headquarters. We recently were having what we thought was a pretty interesting conversation about new model kits. And what model kit would we want to have if suddenly all the manufacturers decided they were not making any more model kits? The model kits that are out there, that's it. The ones that have hit the market, there's none more except for one. They're gonna make one more kit. And what would that kit be?
Right.
Right?
Yep, absolutely. I have two choices, but I'm going to go with the one that.
Hang on, before you say. It's kind of like that desert island thing you were just saying,
island,
right?
yes,
If you had one book that you would have to read if you were stranded on a desert island for the rest of your life, right? So that's kind of the idea here.
Right.
What one kit would you have them make for you? And now you've got two.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go with just the one though.
Oh, okay, all right.
That is an Avro Lincoln.
An Avro Lincoln.
Yes, it's a development of the Lancaster, post-war development of the Lancaster.
If you're wondering what that looks like, here it is. Avro Lincoln.
Yep. Yes.
Why?
Because the Australians used a bunch of them and there's no kit of it.
This is Australian fetish. Is what it is.
Dream kits? You're asking me what?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
What's yours? What's yours, smartass? Since you're gonna get all.
Okay, so mine is. Well, I'm a huge fan of The Mandalorian.
Sure.
And I like Mandalorians, and I mean, I've loved Boba Fett since, you know, the first time Boba Fett ever was seen. But they have this ship out there that first appeared in Clone Wars, and now it has made a huge impact on the Mandalorian TV show, and that is the Mandalorian Gauntlet. Right?
That's a solid choice.
And it would have to be specific, right? Because manufacturers like to hedge their bets with large models like that, or, you know, large subjects, and they'll go down to 144 scale, and I want that in 1/72 scale. So it's constant with the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing and the Razor Crests and the Y-Wing. I want it in 1/72 scale. That would be the one. Okay. You know? And then I'd be able to deal with the rest of everything else, you know, the rest of my life with what's in the stash.
Okay.
All right?
I can see that. Yeah. I mean, I would buy the Gauntlet too. It is a fine looking ship, and I think you and I have discussed how much we want one now that we've seen it in the live action Mandalorian series.
Exactly.
It looks really
and
cool.
Not 3D printed. And there's nothing wrong with the 3D printed thing, but I think we need to specify that it's like licensed, right? The Lincoln would be a government thing, so you don't have to necessarily license that. But, you know, somebody gives them the 3D files, and then they make them directly off the 3D files. That's what I would want.
Injection molded plastic.
Injection molded plastic.
Yeah.
So why don't I think what we want to do is hear from you. What would be your, like, dream kit if there was only one kit that was going to be made ever again? Just one more injection molded plastic kit.
67 Chevy Nova.
Oh, I know who would be the 67 Chevy Nova. I already know who would have said that that's what what they would want. And he's told us that it didn't matter if it had an engine in it or not.
He just wants that particular Nova.
He just wants that Nova. So let us know what would be your final dream kit, the ultimate kit that you would want to see if none more were going to be made. And you can leave it in the comments below, or you can email us at editor@finescale.com.
Yep, we look forward to hearing what your answers are, and we'll go over them in an upcoming issue or
an episode, yeah.
Yes, episode, issue, whatever.
We'll take a look at them regardless.
Yes.
All right, thanks for watching.
We'll see you guys next week.
We definitely will. Take it easy.
Whoa, I feel dizzy.
Whoa. Back to what we're doing.
Never leave out the 1980s.
No.
Load it up. Load it up.
Stop laughing! Sorry. I just couldn't stop hearing it as next. You said it like we were gonna do some sort of wipe, like a
Next.
Next.
Workbench. Workbench. Do it again. Say, we're done. Look reviews.
Look, reviews.
There's one, and there's one. You get a review, and you get a review. Everybody gets a review.
Plenty in the link in the description, just so you know.
I'm ready. At this point, I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be. So only half baked. Still raw in the center. Nice. And I'm just rambling. We're gonna f***ing do this again. I'm gonna delete this one. Let's try it again! Do it live! We'll do it live!